Slice by Bryson podcast. This is episode 3. Today I have a special guest on, Scott LaBeouf. How you doing today, bro?
Doing good.
Good. I'm glad you can make it. Glad I can have you on the podcast.
Yeah, me too, man.
To give everybody a little backstory, how me and Scott met, I started training at the Nichols Rec Center about 5 years ago. I was working part-time at Nichols Rec at the time, and the training manager over there reached out to me via email and said that they had a client for me. Kind of gave me some information. Told me that he had cerebral palsy. So as a new trainer at the time, it was a big step for me taking on a client that had a disability. At the time, I had only worked with a handful of clients. So this was a big step for me as a trainer. So I kind of did my research, looked up some different things. I got in touch with Scott's mom, and we were able to meet up, kind of go over some different things, set up a schedule for Scott. And at the time, I think you were like 18, 19, freshman in college. Yeah. So long story short, started training Scott at the Nichols Rec. We worked together on and off for, I guess, the past 5 years. Over that span of time, I've seen this young man grow and evolve into the man that he is today. He's made a lot of steps, overcome a lot of adversity. One thing I can say about Scott is I watch whenever we train together how he interacts with everybody, and he's like a ball, whenever people walk by, he's always saying hi, always smiling. Even though he had a lot going on himself personally, he was able to block all that out. And like I said, in the gym, we made a lot of progress. We worked up to incline bench max of 165, which is amazing. And yeah, he was a great client for sure. So Scott, I'm gonna let you take it away. Kind of give the audience an introduction, tell them a little bit about yourself and about your journey.
Well, like he said, my name's Scott LaBeouf. I have cerebral palsy. Well, first thing I want to start off as far as what cerebral palsy is. Cerebral palsy is a neurological disorder that has to do with your brain and how your brain communicates with the rest of your body. Right. When I was born, I had a hemorrhage on one side of my brain, which caused my brain to send abnormal signals to my legs. So that basically made it so my walking patterns were basically disoriented to where I would walk with a crouch or I'd walk and I'd have less endurance. Also, I'd experience things like increased spasticity in the hamstrings, spasticity in my quads to where I just couldn't stand for a long period of time. Endurance was a real issue. Maintaining muscle mass was also an issue just because I just couldn't work out for a long period of time. And I also want to make this very clear to everybody because not a lot of people know. Cerebral palsy is not something that's very generalized. It's different for everybody who has it, And I've had the pleasure of meeting kids that have it way worse than I do. And it kind of just makes me grateful and allows me to inspire them. When they see me doing things that they want to do, and it's just it allows me to sort of ensure them that it's still possible for them and different things like that. These kids, they don't have the same opportunities that I have. And, it's heartbreaking, but it's also very fulfilling to know that I can inspire them to chase their dreams and redefine what's possible for them. But yeah, like I said, living with cerebral palsy is different from everybody that has it. For me, it's more mild. The only thing it affects me, for is my legs, right? It doesn't really affect me for anything else. I'm able to talk well, eat, drink, work out. I always like to tell people, just as a general statement, that, I do everything that they can do, that other people can do, except I do it differently. I accomplish the same things. I just do it. It takes longer for me to do that. and I also have to do it in different ways, or a different way, if you will. But I started training at Nichols with him. And like I've had other trainers in the past, like I had my friend Ryan who lives in New York now. I basically started training as a form of rehab at first because I was having surgeries every summer, and I kept having to set myself back in my recovery because I kept having to do those for different reasons, to fix different problems and things like that. Just trying to give me the best quality of life possible. Um, and I started training Ryan for like maybe 2 years during the summer. And then it got to where he was going to move to New York, so I had to figure out who I was going to reach out to for training, and this is where I met Bryce. And I was just starting college at 18. Didn't really have a lot of like training experience or workout experience as far as like the regimen and like the consistency and things like that. And he really instilled in me like the drive, and he taught me about consistency and where you can get to if you are consistent. And so training with him, it started out pretty hard. Like he basically gave me a swift kick in the butt. He was like, "Dude, this is what you should do, and this is where you can get to." Um, obviously he said it's on and off just because like with COVID and things like that, hurricanes. But yeah, I still find a way to maintain, whether it's by myself or with him. I have my own 6-day split that I do when I'm not working out with him, and it's great. I love it. It took me a while to figure it out, but it's something that I love to do. And I think seeing or people, I think normal people seeing me in the gym and see me just chasing it, and it's very inspiring for me, and it's very fulfilling for me because the stereotype nowadays is like that. The people don't want to like ask questions about like my disability because they don't want to offend me by asking. But at the same time, it's like I would rather you ask me just because it allows me to share more of my life with you and more of my story with them. Inspire. And it also shows that, and I'm able to showcase that my disability doesn't define who I am.
Right. You don't let it hold you down.
And everybody has their crosses, and like I've said in the past, I've told multiple people, like everybody has their crosses that they bear. And it just so happens that this is Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, something new. The water therapy, like an underwater training, basically it was cool, but it felt weird at the time because I had just like finished recovering from surgery. So it was like kind of nerve wracking because I didn't really know what it was going to feel like being on my feet again. But the staff over there were super nice. I still talk to them to this day. Like we're still good friends. And who knows, I might end up back there, but for different reasons. But living with CP, most people think it's like this really like difficult thing, which it is to a certain extent. But it is what you make it. Like you can either sit up like at home all day getting mad at yourself about the situation that you're in, or you can try and make the best of it. I'm lucky enough to have a support system at home and away that just keeps me going. Even though some days are hard, like I still try and find ways to just be thankful and be optimistic as best I can. Nobody's perfect, so
you say everybody has their pros. Said birds.
Yeah. But CP, it's a blessing, man. It's something that I didn't anticipate. Obviously, nobody anticipates it. It's just something that sort of happens, and a lot of people tell me it's crazy. It sounds like when they walk up to me, they're like, I could never really tell that you had something as complex as that. Just how well I talk and how well I communicate, and the confidence that I communicate with. But yeah, it's a blessing. It's something that I'll always be thankful for.
And one thing I noticed over time with as far as the progress that you have made with your fitness and managing the CP is whenever you're trying first it was hard to maneuver, like to get from the wheelchair to the machine, whatnot. But I noticed over time you were able to kind of stand up and move yourself along without the assistance. From the wheelchair. That's one of the things. Can't get rid of it, but you can manage it through lifestyle. From a trainer's perspective, like Scott Stace is the main thing was the extreme tightness in the hamstrings, which limits his mobility, his ability to to walk, range of motion, all that. So whenever we would train, we would focus on a lot of movements that would kind of stretch the hamstrings, strengthen those muscles. So we did a lot of like leg extensions, short range leg press, sit to stand. We did a lot of band work for core to work the core, and of course upper body. Like I was saying earlier, we did a lot of incline press and shoulder press, and he made a lot of progress on that over time.
Yeah. You know, for me, training was always something that first I didn't really think it was possible, just because I didn't really know. I really didn't know myself. Like I didn't know what my limits were as far as like how far I could push it. You know, and thankfully, like I've had a good support system that kind of breaks me out to the point where like I'm not afraid anymore of like, you know, I'm curious more than I am afraid of as far as what I can do, physically. You know, and that really helped me, molded me into the person I am today. The curiosity of it, as far as how far I can go. But as far as like progress was concerned, like I don't think a lot of people understand like how hard it is to roll yourself around in a wheelchair for basically your entire life, or like close to 10 years now, maybe even more. But like just doing the daily things, like going to class and things like that's not easy. And a lot of people may think that it's easy just because they see me, you know, you know, and it's not. But I mean, and that's why I do upper body, right? And I always like it because like people always tell me like, dude, you're like jacked, like, like they'll come up to me like in the gym or whatever, like, dude, you must have serious upper body, like how much you're rolling around that thing. You know, and I try and take the positives out of every situation, though. And like going down ramps is always fun, you know, like just like super fast. Even though I have ejected myself at least 3 or 4 times, some of which you've been present for.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's not fun. But it's you know, I laugh it off and compose myself and get back to work. I've even dropped a dumbbell on my foot. Which sucked because I had to roll home afterwards at like 8 p.m. Yeah, at night. Every turn, every corner hurt.
Every little bump.
Yeah, every bump. But you know, I composed myself and then just kept on going. I even finished that workout, which was pretty awesome. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but I did. You know, and I think for me, like I've always really took it to heart. You guys know who Matt Rife is. He talks about in one of his specials that if you're able to laugh at the stuff that's meant to make you miserable, you'll be a significantly happier person. That's cliche, but it's true. That's something that I really believe, and it's something that stuck with me. That's why, for those of you that know me, like I always like try to joke around about my disability, like I'll make jokes, I'll just talk it up with people, like do different things. And it's just like mostly off the wall jokes like that. I think that's what makes it so funny and so gratifying for me, is because like people don't expect it. You know, the last thing people expect is for me to make jokes about myself. Right? And I think that's how. I think that's something that needs to change. Obviously, everybody's different, like, and everybody has different personalities. So not everybody's gonna want to make jokes about themselves, but. At least for me, that's something that kind of helps me. It keeps me centered in who I am, and it makes me comfortable in my own skin. And I think that's really one of the most important things when you're attempting to live a life like this, is being comfortable in your own skin. And surrounding yourself with, and the people you surround yourself with really make that worthwhile.
But yeah, they rub off on you. They play a big influence in who you are.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, it's important to have a good sense of humor. You know, don't always take things so serious. You know, gotta enjoy life. So transition from you said we talked about your physical progress in the gym and whatnot. Let's talk about. I know you recently graduated from Nicholls State University.
Yeah.
4.5
years.
Yeah. And you completed it in 4 years.
What was it? 5? I'm not sure.
I'm sure it flew by.
Some days did, some days didn't.
And I know you also recently got a new job opportunity. So let's go ahead and touch up on that.
Well, as far as like graduating, like I'll touch on that really quick. As far as graduating was, like it was 5 years, close maybe 4.5 to 5. My parents were really nervous about me going to college just because they didn't know how I was going to accomplish it. At the time, there was a little bit of uncertainty on my physical ability as far as like the daily things, like just having the self discipline to get up on time. And I know that I have that now just because I've been through it. But at the time, it was kind of a question mark. You know, would I be able to do all of those things? And it was more, and my parents were more nervous than I was, to be honest. Like I was, and I feel like I wasn't that nervous because I knew that I had people there already that were going to basically be my family for the next 4 to 5 years. That's my sister because a lot of her friends became my friends. All of the people at her church at St. Thomas, those guys are still my friends. You know, I go there pretty on the regular, not so much now because I have a job, like he said. But yeah, graduating was something that I knew I needed to do to further my career. I didn't really know what I was going to do after college. Just I knew that I needed to do it to further myself and further my development. And, you know, it just felt really good to prove a lot of people wrong, just because there's not like some people just a lot of people don't believe that it's possible for them, and a lot of disabled people don't think it's possible for them. I'll say, and just to be an inspiration to those people, and to live a life that I'm proud of and that my family can be proud of is something that I'll always value. And also, like you're saying, so to pivot off of that, like you said, I do have a new job, and it's something that I'm very grateful for. My dad reached out to the owner because their companies work very closely with each other, and they reached out to him, and luckily enough, there was an opening, and obviously it's not something that I saw myself doing, working for the marine industry, because my degree is in marketing, and that's something that I see myself doing long term. I don't really see myself in the marine industry long term, but nonetheless, I am very grateful for this opportunity, and I intend to take full advantage of it. And you know, I've always been the type of person to not do anything 50%. If you're going to give me an opportunity, you're going to get all of my attention and all of my effort into that, and that's what I've done thus far. It's very awesome. It's a great company, great people, great hours. The pay is good. I do very well. Great. The hours is really what makes it for me, and the people as well. Just because I look forward to it every week. You know, and it's a great place. They've really welcomed me with open arms, and they're very accommodating. They're very encouraging as far as like the learning process, because it's a huge learning curve, guys. The marine industry is no joke, and it's an industry that is kind of underappreciated and overlooked, especially in Louisiana. But it's a very prominent industry, and it also can be very lucrative as well in different avenues. So I'm very thankful that my dad was able to. I'm very thankful for my dad, first of all, and my parents, and especially everybody at Atlas for giving me the opportunity.
Taking advantage of that opportunity, making the most of it. So Scott, I'm going to kind of circle back here. I know you kind of touched up about how you involved with St. Thomas, the Catholic Church at Nicholls State. I know you're involved in fellowships too over there. Um, kind of talk about the importance of faith for you in everyday life and those your time in Nichols involved in those fellowships.
Uh, faith for me, it wasn't as crazy as it sounds because like everybody knows me now, but not everybody knew me like years ago. Like when I was a kid, like growing up. Like as a kid growing up, I didn't like going to mass. I didn't like going to church. It was not something that was on my radar. I had a lot of other things that I had to do with my time as far as like going to therapy, like PT, things like that. And that took up a lot of my time. So by the time I got home, that's the last thing I was thinking about. You know, um, but throughout my life, like I've had different experiences and different moments that really taught me how important faith is. It's all about, and it really just starts with yourself. Like you have to have faith in yourself, otherwise you're never going to take that first step or that first leap, or that first gym class, or that first class in school, um, or the first new friend that you make. Or if you don't have faith in yourself, to present yourself in a positive way and see yourself in a positive way. Because before you can impact somebody else's life, you have to know how to love yourself. Before you can love your friends, you have to know how to love yourself. Um, and for me, there was one moment in particular that like I got out of class one day and I was going to I forget. I was like coming out of class and I had to like I was kind of like hungry because it was lunchtime. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna go get some food. And then one of my friends passed by me and she was like, hey, you want mass? And I was like, no, I'm gonna go get some food. And she was like, nah, that's lame. And ever since that day, like I flipped a switch, and it was just like easy as that. Um, and like, and I thought like, she's right. I do need to prioritize my faith life more. And then ever since that day, like I never missed a daily mass at 12:15. I made so many new friends that I have to this day. So many like role models, just like family like figures, so to speak. Um, you know, and just like really had a great journey as far as like getting back into my faith and things like that. Um, so much right now, like that. Like right now, it's kind of hard just because of everything that I'm going through currently with my health and things like that. Like obviously, I'm on an uptrend. Like I feel like I've turned the corner for the better, but I'm not where I want to be yet. And I feel like my faith is going to be a big part. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, like I'm going to start going to the gym soon, probably like next week or the week after, depending on what work does and how the hours work. But some months are easier than others, so we'll see. I really did have to prioritize my mental health. This journey that I've been on recently has really taught me how important your mental health is, guys. And it's something that you should not take for granted, and it's something that you should prioritize on the regular. No matter what you think and how confident you are, like it's always something that you need to prioritize. And whether it's taking a break from something that you like to do, or something or if you're like stressed out, or something, you always need to have those avenues to de-stress and decompress, right? You always need to have that, and because it helps keep you centered and helps keep you grounded in who you are as a person.
Right.
And that's what the gym was for me.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, it is very therapeutic. Regardless of what most people think.
Right. And yeah, if you don't take a break, you will get burnt out, and it will have a negative effect on other areas of life, sure. So, like I was saying, it's important to find that balance with everything. You need to take a break from something, take that break. You're gonna take a few days off, take a few days off, because you don't want to get burnt out, and then that really is a negative effect on the life overall.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of pivot off of what he's saying, like as far as burnout, like, if you, for example, if you're an athlete, right, and you play a sport that you love dearly, my personal advice to you guys is to find something outside of your sport that, like a hobby or something like that, that is completely unrelated to the sport of your choice, and something that you enjoy doing, whether that be drawing, whether that be
Oh yeah.
graphic design, for example. That's what I like to do. But anything that's completely unrelated and something that you really are passionate about, like whether it's music, art, what else? Name something else.
Music, art,
Everything.
cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, like me with the meal prep one.
Yeah. So anything like that, like I feel like that really helps combat the burnout because you have that way to decompress and get away from it for a little bit.
Right.
You know, and it's like kind of like everything in moderation, like he always says, like as far as like on your diet, like it's the same thing.
Right. On the weekend, you want to go splurge a little bit. You know, eat that hamburger, but don't go crazy. Don't start binging. You know.
Yeah, don't lose sight of like what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. But because if you're just strict all the time, you know, eventually you're gonna, and then you're gonna really fall off your diet.
Yeah.
So it's important to do everything in moderation. You know. So you're in the gym. What's your playlist? What's your top 3 artists that you listen to while you work?
Well, okay, so top 3 of like genres or artists, I would say is Logic. So you guys know who that is. He's one of the greatest like old school rap artists, which I really enjoy.
His old school flow.
Yeah, very old school. And I really enjoy his music. Different albums, things like that. And the fact that he's still producing is insane to me.
And he tells stories. You know?
Yes.
It's not like stereotypical. Yeah, like I said, it's good flow. There's story behind every song. So.
And then as far as my second one, I'd have to say Dylan Scott, who's a country artist. I know it's like complete opposite side of the spectrum, but he's somebody that I enjoy as far as like, you know, it's just a different type of flow. It's very low key, very like a calming type of music. Kind of just gets you thinking about life and things like that. So I really like Dylan Scott, and like I said, Logic. And the last one I'd have to say is who's the last? I also like Latino music as well, like Latin music, things like that. Yeah, like Bad Bunny, those types of artists.
Pitbull.
Yeah, Pitbull, those types of things, like just like really fast paced.
Energetics.
Yeah, I like that upbeat stuff.
All right.
So I like a little bit of everything, just to put it plainly.
Yeah, I know. I remember when I used to train, music was a big thing for you. You always had your headphones. You always had the music playing.
Oh yeah,
you locked in.
Like he would be talking to me, and like I'd be like, dude, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So like when I'd be lifting, he would like put his hand like this. Yeah, he would like because I couldn't hear a single thing.
Right, you would turn on that music.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I get it though. You know, music you feed off of that energy. You feed off of that energy when I'm working out. If I don't have my headphones, it's not the same.
It's really not.
You know,
because you kind of get in your own head if you don't have music, and it's you know, I always think that like the scariest place to be is when you're in your own thoughts, right? And that's why I value music so much. Like I'm always listening to music no matter what I'm doing, because it helps me sort of get out of my own head. No matter what I'm doing, right? I could be on my computer doing graphics. I could be reading first, which I know some people think it's weird, but
reading.
Oh no, as far as like listening to music while you're reading, but something like that. I'm always doing. My parents make fun of me for it just because I'm always listening to music.
That's pretty impressive. You can listen to music and read at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something. I mean, I don't know, but it's always something that I like to do, and you know, and I like to. I think one of the most things that I value in myself is just the ability to be relatable, regardless of who I am as a person, right? Because I'm a very unique person just because I do have a disability, and it's something that not a lot of people know about. CP especially has really become mainstream recently, which I think it's really awesome. I think we need to do a better job of educating people on how to interact with people with disabilities and how to be comfortable in that space, right? Because I think a lot of people are afraid to ask questions, but I feel like the only way to really get to know somebody with a disability is to ask those questions. Um, and I'm not the type of person to shy away from answering those either, right? If somebody come out to me and be like, "Hey, like, what do you have?" Like, I'm not gonna sit there and like get mad at them or be offended because somebody wants to know something about me.
Right. Yeah.
Like, if I didn't have this, people would still ask me the same get to know me questions, and I still would answer them.
Right.
Right. So this is just basically just another conversation starter. That's what I treat it as. And like just to sort of round it off as far as that topic was, I've always learned, and you can write this down if you want. If somebody's not willing to put themselves in a position to get to know you guys, then their opinion of you should not matter at all, right? Because if you try and meet somebody and y'all don't really vibe or click, within 5 to 10 minutes after that interaction, they probably forgot who you are, right? So you should do the same. Right. There's no reason you should beat yourself up or anything like that if somebody just doesn't connect, right? Regardless of who that is. But yeah, their opinion, if they don't put themselves in a position to get to know you, their opinion of you should not matter, right?
Exactly. Okay. That's some great points. Sure. Yeah, Scott, you're definitely an inspiration to a lot of people. Like I said before, I've been knowing you for 5 years now, and I've seen you evolve into the person that you are today. You made some big steps, huge steps, despite the challenges that you've been faced, been dealt. So if somebody wants to reach out to you on via social media, what would be a good way, like Instagram, Facebook?
Not me, either of those, really. My Instagram is just my name, no spaces. It's Scott LeBoeuf, SCOTTLEBOUEF, no spaces. On Facebook, if that's my name as well. It's just look, if y'all see me in the gym at Planet Fitness in Homa, I'm gonna start going there just as a new journey. So if you see me there, don't hesitate to say hi. I'm the guy in the camo wheelchair. If you're curious, that's me. And I'm also the guy that has my headphones on. But yeah, if you ever see me in public, if you ever see me in the gym or anywhere, don't hesitate to come say hi or ask questions if you're curious. I'd rather you be curious than be judgmental, and I think there's a very fine line with it when it comes to that, right?
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people need to remember: is be curious, not judgmental.
Right. So that's it. That's good. Oh, all right, Scott. I appreciate you coming on, brother. As always, good time. And I have a little gift for you. Yo. Major Slice Barber shirts. The newest number right here. Newest edition. So if you want to eat, brother. You're rocking it, Planet Fitness. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Have a good one.
And we're out.